So it's a big question. Maybe not, are we alone in the universe, or what is the meaning of life big, but fairly big. And in the right circles, it can be quite divisive. Again, maybe not does pineapple belong on pizza kind of divisive, but you get my point. So, GPS app or rangefinder? I'm going to caveat this whole video before we even start by saying, if you are genuinely stuck, don't know which way to go, the best thing you can do is try both. So the app that I'm using is Hole 19. It's a free app, absolutely brilliant. I've loved it. And like I said, it's going to cost you no money to download it and give it a try. The rangefinder, which I use, is a Bluetooth X7 Tour, which, I mean, it's at the lower end of what you would be paying for a rangefinder. It's 130 quid. Now I know that's a little bit of an investment, but if you can, borrow one from a friend. Give it a go just for a round or so and see how you feel. Ultimately, this is my feedback, having used a rangefinder and having used a GPS app for a long time, both together and separately. You might feel differently once you've tried both or either. It's worth a try. Anyway, so I've done a review on both, but let's do a more kind of generic positives and negatives for each, the rangefinder and the GPS app. Starting with the rangefinder, I mean, generally speaking, they are so easy to use. It's literally just a find your target, point and click. And that gives you your exact yardage to the exact point you're aiming at, or the exact thing you want to avoid. Big positive, really. Again, generally speaking, they're also very lightweight, handheld, easy to transport, and at the end of the day, they are designed for one purpose. So they do that purpose pretty damn well, generally speaking. Obviously, with the more expensive ones, you get better features, therefore they do the job better. But like I say, I'm doing this with a pretty budget rangefinder, so it does basically all you need it to, rather than giving you bells and whistles. So positives of the GPS app. Now first and probably most obvious, it's an app. It's for your phone. Most people have their phone with them anyway when they're at the course these days, so it's not another thing to worry about, another thing to carry. Obviously that means it can slip in your back pocket nicely, can slip away in your bag if you wanted to and only pull it out when you need it. It's telling me 138. GPS says 139. Both of those numbers are to a middle pin. I mean, we're not even splitting hairs. Another big benefit of the GPS app is that you essentially get a course map in your pocket for free, which can be absolutely invaluable, especially from a course management point of view. If you're able to plot your way through a hole, because you can physically see the shape and layout of the hole that you're playing. And anyone who's played a new course knows either how much course maps can be, or how frustrating it is when you don't know the layout of the hole. So again, big plus there. Then obviously, one of the biggest, arguably the biggest positive for the GPS apps is they are largely free. I mean, the one that I'm using, Hole 19, it's free. Again, they are free maybe up to a certain point and you start having to pay for certain features, but generally speaking, you can get the core features for free. And that's huge. Okay, so negatives. Starting with the rangefinders. It's something that I've already alluded to. They're expensive. Even the cheap ones, like I've got, 130 quid, it's still a little bit of an investment. And then obviously you can go up to the more fancy ones, which can cost you something, you know, sometimes in the region of 500-600 quid. It's a lot of money. And like I say, they are built for one purpose. And unless you're going out shooting or doing archery, something where you need to be able to see targets in the distance, generally speaking, you're only going to be using it for golf. Factor in that I'm comparing it to an app which is free, and even 130 quid sounds expensive. But that is a personal thing, I guess. You know, golf is as expensive or as cheap as you want it to be. If you're happy to spend 400, 500, 600 quid on a rangefinder, I mean, we know full well that they're going to be good. It's up to you. $105. Then of course there's the usability. Generally speaking they're fine, but every now and then you get that moment where it takes you 10 or 15 seconds to actually find your target, lock onto it and get the yardage. And if that happens, you know, 5 or 6 times in a round, I mean, it can annoy your playing partners, but also it can be a bit frustrating. It's not as much of an issue with the GPS apps. Of course, there are some substantial issues with the GPS app. And to start off with, it might sound stupid, but one of the biggest issues is that it's on your phone. I say that because a lot of courses still aren't big fans of people using their phone while they're out on the golf course. And equally, a lot of people aren't fans of using their phone on the course either. So this is what I mean when I say, you know, it's going to be more of a personal opinion rather than me telling you the facts. Because some people might not like to use their phone on the course. I love it. I mean, I do it regularly. But some people just aren't wired that way. And that's fine. But it does mean that maybe the GPS app isn't for them. Again, one of maybe the bigger issues is that it's not an exact yardage. At the end of the day, you're getting what you pay for. It's a free app, so you can't ask too much of it. Having done tests before, I know that generally speaking, a rangefinder is a little bit more accurate. But like I say, you have to pay for them. You don't have to pay for the app. There are probably some tertiary issues as well with the app. You know, I mean, battery life on your phone could be an issue. Depends what kind of phone you've got, I suppose. Accuracy could be another issue, depending on, again, what kind of phone you've got, how good the GPS is, whether you've got actual signal at the course you're on, which, I mean, I know for a fact that a lot of courses do struggle with phone signal. So I've been lucky enough to play with both, and that's both each kind of individually, so on their own, and together, weirdly enough. And I mean, it's really difficult to say categorically whether one is better than the other, because it does depend on how you're going to use it. At the end of the day, I'm a huge fan of both. I mean, I use both. In reality, I probably use the rangefinder more than I use the app these days. But there's no rhyme or reason to that. It's just, I do other things on my phone. Like I do my Instagram when I'm out on the course, so that kind of takes priority of my phone, I suppose. It can come down to something as just as simple as, you know, a case of want versus need. What you want might be a rangefinder, whereas what you need is an app. I mean, in reality, what you probably need is a course map, but weirdly enough, course maps are more expensive than apps these days. So that's another thing to think about. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm not going to be able to give you a definitive answer one way or the other. At the end of the day, it's up to you to try and make up your own mind. What I'm trying to do is help you weigh up the options and tell you my feedback, having used both for quite a while. So from my personal opinion, and it's not a recommendation, but it's just how I feel, if I didn't have either in my bag right now, I would absolutely go for the app. It's free, it does exactly what I need it to. If I want to upgrade and get the better features, I can. It's still going to cost a hell of a lot less than buying a rangefinder. But at the same time, having used a rangefinder now, I like having it. So it's a really useful thing to have in the bag, even when I'm using the app at the same time. It's very confusing. So guys, sorry I can't give you the answer, but I hope you enjoyed the video anyway. Let me know down in the comments below which way you'd lean, whether you'd go GPS app or rangefinder, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers guys.